Hey everybody, Noah. Everyone who reads and must converse is the channel. Nice to see you back. I'm checking the levels, make sure you guys can hear me all right and all that kind of thing. Let me know. Yeah, happy Friday. All that. Noah, everyone who reads and must converse is the channel. Been gone for a little while. Pulled the trigger on a vacation. First time in a long time. Yeah, sounding pretty good, I think. Looking pretty good already. All right. Sweet. All right. Panama City Beach for a week. It was awesome. Not too far from where I'm at. I'm in Georgia here. So I'm going to keep the chat just right close. You guys holler out if anything. I did go book shopping. Of course. Got some cool suggestions to go to, what was it, Sundog Books when I was down there from a dude on Instagram. And I was happy that I did. I'll show something that I picked up from there. And then stopped by another one called Hidden Lantern Booksellers. Yeah, long time no see, Conrob. Happy Friday, brother. Nice to see you. Let's see, we got so Midnight or Hidden Lantern was a very beautiful bookshop and very well curated selection. Not near as many books as over at Sundog. Sundog probably had double the books in their shop. But I saw so many more that I wanted, even just wanted because of a great edition of it. A lot of Penguin Black Spine action. And there's a little teaser for the one that I picked up. I got a new Penguin Black Spine from there. And one that I had never seen before. And just fun, man. Really fun. I did have fun on the vacation. Tyler, happy Friday, man. I haven't caught up on any videos. I really detached from my phone a lot on that trip. It was wonderful. I did share quite a bit on Instagram, if you guys follow me there. Hey, Teeny Tiny, happy Friday. I did share some pictures and everything there, and you'll like what you see. But hey, Nick Voro, happy Friday. I will also, if you guys who hang with me till the end, and I'll timestamp it on the video, I'm going to show one of the most amazing books that I've ever come across in my life today. And it has been seen on the channel, but it was real early in making my channel. I need to do a video just dedicated to this book because it's so unbelievable. But we'll start off first with a read that I haven't finished yet. It was a vacation read, and since I got back, we've just been, getting back put together. You guys know how it is, I'm sure. But it is a mind-blowing read. This is A Pastoral by Lee D. Thompson. This is from the Corona Samizdat Press in Slovenia, a Canadian author that actually won a literary award for this book last week while I was on vacation. I had it because it was up for that award during the vacation, right? And I wanted to experience it. I have read something by Lee D. Thompson before, Mouth Human Must Die. It was an awesome novella. Really strange, puts you in a strange place. And this is definitely puts you in a strange place. It reminds me of a movie, the premise is going to remind you if you've seen a movie called The Lobster, right? There is a technology in the world in this book where a human's consciousness can be put into an animal. And we follow such a person, a loser. His name is Bones. And he is a thief and a complete loser, and his loser friends. Lee is a genius. I love this book. I'm not going to spoil it. but I am going to talk a bit more about it and might do some content like dedicated on it. But we have two narratives going, two different time periods, both where Bones is the main character. One, as a human being, setting up for a heist with his idiot friends in bars, and we have him as a sheep navigating the world as an awoke sheep, like a human that has kind of woke up in a sheep's body, and you get the sense that he might have been a sheep 5 years or something like that since, and then but when we meet him, he wakes up and realizes he's a human and knows who he is. But then it's so smartly done. Let me tell you, there's an element of absurdity, of course, and silliness to this kind of thing. So it is a fantasy, but literarily speaking, how it's done is so smart. Where in the human parts of the narrative, him and his buddies are characterized by animals in this kind of way. But then the animals, once he wakes up, other animals that are already awake realize that he's awake and start putting him to work. This kind of thing. He is a sheep after all. And he gives these animals human names. A dog and a goat, Fergus. A dog is Jack. And then there's the really strange aspect of it, where Lee D. Thompson has very much his own thing going. An awesome Idiocracy meets Terry Gilliam, full blown Monty Python stuff. Let me check. That's how I do it. All right. I think I figured out something. I figured out how I kept making the video go smaller when I was doing the live talking to my boy Ryan the other time. This A Pastoral, I tell you, it's kind of got that weirdness that is a completely unique kind of strangeness. And for a satire, for a dystopia, it's very well done. I don't mean to compare it to The Lobster, because that movie kind of sucked. I thought. The writer and director there, it seems like to me that he falls short of what he tries to do. The killing of a sacred deer and The Lobster were both very, overly strange, with this kind of magical element to the story that just doesn't really fit anywhere, I don't think. Good day, Paulie. Happy Friday. Hey, baby. Emily Clemens in the house. We had an awesome time enjoying the sun. Thank you, baby. So, I could talk about a pastoral for a really, really long time. It's really interesting what he's done, but I'm going to give it, its own time, its own video or whatever it might be, right? So, only more if you guys have some questions about it. Like I said, I'm not completely finished, so I'm not going to, kind of give my take on it right now either. Lee heard that I was taking the book on vacation and said, give a sheep a chance. That's all I'm saying. And I agree. I'm very glad I gave a sheep a chance, because Bones is an exceptional sheep. And you get it kind of like a, Charlotte's Web vibes and Animal Farm and, just all kinds of weird stuff mixed together in with Canadian sensibilities. All right. So I'll show one first from the very well curated bookstore I went to called Hidden Lantern Booksellers. Here's their little logo. This is Hidden Lantern in Panama City or Laguna Beach, just right around that area. I don't know. It is Rosemary Beach is the name of exactly where it is. All the, you drive 1 mile down the street and you're at a different beach, right? There's just all these names. So it is Rosemary Beach, the Hidden Lantern, and they do have a website. What up, everyone? Hey, Clayton. Oh, yeah. Go on down, bro. Get you some sun. It was awesome. It was just wonderful weather for it. Any kind of precipitation blew through very quickly, and it dried up. It wasn't muggy at all. It was just killer. Wonderful breezes on hot days, and not as hot as I'm used to, here in Georgia in the summer. So I've never read any Hampson. I picked up Mysteries. Look at this edition, right? Brand spanking new. I usually don't buy new books, but hey, I was on vacation, right? And got a sticker as well. So Hidden Lantern Booksellers. I had never seen Mysteries, but I read this. Okay, here we go. I need to read some Hampson, so I had picked up Hunger earlier this year, and it's just sitting on the to-be-read shelf right over here. And when I read this, I just picked this up as well. The first complete English translation of Hampson's literary masterpiece. Mysteries is a story of Johan Nielsen Nagel, a mysterious stranger who suddenly turns up in a small Norwegian town one summer, and just as suddenly disappears. Nagel is a complete outsider, a sort of modern Christ, treated in a spirit of near parody. He condemns the politics and thoughts of the age, brings comfort to the insulted and the injured, and gains the love of two women suggestive of the biblical Mary and Martha. But there is a sinister side of him. In his vest, he carries a vial of prussic acid. So, an assassin, maybe? The novel creates a powerful sense of Nagel's stream of thought as he withdraws into the torture chamber of his own subconscious psyche. I'm down, right? I'm so down. So, I love stuff like this. You're gonna see, that kind of thing is my jam. If I'm going for some fiction, right? Right. So, who knows when I'll get to it, right? But that was just one of those buys because it was a shop we went to on the vacation. Really nice, and I could have picked from 2 or 3 cool books, great editions that I would be glad to have. If you're into books for like collecting like that and having good editions, that's the kind of bookstore you want. And whenever I get like a gift card to Barnes and Noble, that happens every so often, something like that. If it goes down like that, I will go to the Barnes and Noble Classics section and grab a NYRB paperback or a Penguin Black Spine, something like that, anytime. Unless there's something new that I'm looking forward to, right? So, the passing of Cormac McCarthy just this week. We want to take a second for the McCarthy heads. I'm not exactly one. Red Blood Meridian a long time ago, and it definitely rubbed me the wrong way. I was a very young reader and just wasn't down for that kind of thing. Didn't hate it, but didn't love it for sure. I do feel like going for Suttree. Yeah, Tyler. Sorry to bring it up, man. I know. Nice. Destin is not far from, not too far, you know. I mean, you're kind of driving on vacation everywhere, right? Because you just don't know. So I did hit a thrift store, and I'm going to show one that I got from the thrift store because it's a cautionary. I got 2 cautionary tales I'm going to throw out, both to do with the vacation, but even more, right? Yeah, I mean, I bet if I read it now, I would love it. I bet if I read it now, I would really, I would get more what he's doing, what he's saying, all that kind of thing. Man, that's crazy, Clayton. Nice. Very cool, man. I got to get on him. I never really, it was just a young experience, and then, just kind of turned off to him. Yeah. So, I found this in a thrift store, and this is a cautionary tale in a book. Okay, this is, if you see it, it says the essence of the Bhagavad Gita as expressed by or explained by Paramahansa Yogananda. But this is not Paramahansa Yogananda's book. Paramahansa Yogananda wrote a 2-volume, I have it, commentary and commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. It's wonderful. It's my favorite edition and favorite commentary on the Gita. I couldn't reread it for the rest of my life. The Gita is that kind of work, right? But this says explained by Yogananda, but as remembered by his disciple Swami Kriyananda. So Swami Kriyananda was a disciple, self-proclaimed, right, of the Self-Realization Fellowship. Self-Realization Fellowship is a community, much a network of temples, and that actually teach and allow space for the teachings of Yogananda. He was a synthesizer in his bringing out deep Hindu teachings in the United States, right? 50s, right? This big boom, Beatles, and he wrote, of course, the autobiography of a yogi, which is an amazingly popular spiritual biography. But this is shunned by the community and by others, Self-Realization Fellowship, but also others outside, because there's perspective or things said about the Gita, in its explanation in here that do not line up with what Yogananda has out in his commentary of the Gita. I'm not sure what, because I don't, I wasn't going to go looking for it. But in an effort to not have this be somebody's first experience with the Gita, and I can now see for myself and then get rid of it if I feel like, I got it because it was like $1.50 at the thrift store, right? So there is, just kind of, there's your cautionary tale for the Gita. Don't go for this edition. If you see the Bhagavad Gita as it is, that's a wonderful first edition of the Gita. Mahabharata. I wish I could read it. It's so long. There's so much to it. And the Gita is in that, is part of it, right? But getting all those books, the only place to really get them is from the Hare Krishnas, the ones that put out Bhagavad Gita as it is, which is a commentary on the Gita. That's what it is. But their Mahabharata is beautiful, is stunning. There's so many beautiful pictures, and Krishna is a beautiful god. And I wish that it was available, but I see them in used bookstores sometimes. I think that if I just kept collecting, I still wouldn't, kind of get a complete set. It's so much, and you just really don't know where to start. Start at the beginning, but it'd take me all day to collect, or all, my life to collect an edition, right? The Penguin copy. Cliff's Notes, right? That's funny. That's funny, Conrad. Thanks, y'all, for coming and hanging out tonight. Do I look darker? I know my girls got sunned, and Zelda is in summer mode. It is awesome. It's just really, we had a great time and really set the summer vibes going, right? One thing that didn't set the vibe right, I was getting into reading something that's very out of the box. So I'll go ahead and talk about it here, right? So I watched the movie Southland Tales, okay? And I had seen it a couple of times. It's a total cluster, right? And a train wreck. And it's just like a mind blow that this thing ever got made. It's one of the craziest movies ever made. Maybe the craziest big budget movie that's ever been made. And I don't recommend it to anyone. I mean, I don't recommend watching it, but you will watch the whole thing. It's not like bad to where you'll turn it off. And there's so many stars that you're just like, it's got to be going somewhere, right? But why this thing is so crazy that it even got made is because there's a prequel trilogy of graphic novels for this. This is part 4, 5, and 6 of a story. Part 1, 2, and 3 is in a graphic novel form. And I don't recommend that either. Let me tell you, it's total craziness. It doesn't make anything make any more sense. But I was reading that and I was talking about it, and of course nobody has seen Southland Tales in my family, and some were interested. My brother is a movie buff, and a lot of movie buffs in my family. Like I said before, I could just as easily do a movie channel, and talk movies, because I've just seen so many movies and all that kind of thing. Donnie Darko is great. It's not perfect, right? But Donnie Darko is a good movie, and it makes sense as a movie, right? Like, it makes sense in its own way, in its own world, right? Southland Tales doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's like watching Sucker Punch, right? A movie that just doesn't even tell a story. Nice. Started watching Wes Anderson films to see what the hype is about. My favorite is Royal Tenenbaums. I remember it was a huge flop with bad reviews, but I'm still intrigued one day. Oh, you should give it a watch, Nick. So I brought it and we watched it on vacation. I just thought, of course, why don't we watch the craziest movie that I've ever, seen? And look who's in it: The Rock, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Sean William Scott, Justin Timberlake, Mandy Moore, and a whole host of others like John Lovitz, Sherry O'Terry. There's quite a few of the Saturday Night Live crew in there, and just, Stryker. Who else? I mean, there's just it's a crazy amount. You'll see people. The Sicilian from The Princess Bride. I mean, just every, the cleanser, the cleaner from Poltergeist. She's in it. I mean, it's just an unbelievable. It's unbelievable movie. It sucks though, and it wasn't the vibe. I don't think that there ever is a vibe for Southland Tales, to tell you the truth. It's just so chaotic, and it's complete chaos. That's what I'm thinking. I saw Grand Budapest Hotel in theaters when it came out, and I wasn't the biggest fan. I do love Grand Budapest Hotel. I do like that movie a lot. It's Grand Budapest Hotel and Royal Tenenbaums are right up there for me. But everybody has, their own thing. Wes Anderson has his own style, and you might like certain things better, but if you don't really like he has just like this cinematic symmetry and perspectives that just really are uniquely, he's made them his own, and it's enjoyable to watch. And they have a certain vibe. They all have a certain vibe. French Dispatch is actually pretty cool, but more disconnected than any of his other movies. It's like essentially 4 short films. Nice. He is very quirky like that, and you got to be down for the quirky like that. I just love the family dynamic in Royal Tenenbaums, to tell you the truth. Just these eccentric genius family with just a complete user of a father figure. I don't know. I can dig it. And French Dispatch, there's some I like more than others. The Benicio del Toro in the prison story, I really enjoyed. The Chalamet and what's her name? Fargo, and she's in everything. Blood Simple. She's a Coen Brothers. I forget her name right now. Oh, I just almost had it. Okay. But her story and Timothy Chalamet, I didn't really dig that story, but maybe need to watch it again, because there was quite a bit going on with that story. A lot of dialogue that you had to read, because she's the girl speaking French a lot, I believe, in it, and then my eyes are off the screen, right? When I'm reading, I'm not seeing mannerisms or things like this. So Frances McDermott, that's right. So I need to watch it again. I don't want to pass judgment on it too much. Movies, I really will watch if I like it, and if I want to get into it, then I'll watch it quite a few times. Really watching it, bringing different perspectives to bear, trying to, or something like that, and growing in my understanding of it. The Whale was an example of that. If you guys, I've did some talking about that one. Did I finish the book I was reading on vacation? I haven't finished it yet. Hey, Hammer. Thanks for coming by, bro. Hey, Hammer is my real life brother. Thanks for coming by, man. He was actually on vacation, him and his family, with my family as well. I mean, we are family. He's my brother, right? But I mean, it was an extended family vacation. and we extended the vacation. We extended the extended family vacation. And all that makes total sense. That's crazy. I did not see Beau is Afraid. I do want to see that movie. I forgot. I forgot about that movie. I'm not huge into Ari Aster. Hereditary, I didn't like. It was a slow burn, but when it comes down to it, the ending fell short for me. Just this kind of whole plan comes out of nowhere with nothing. And, that should have been the end of the movie is, should have been at the start or something, or in the middle or something, and give some more pre reveal, right? I watched it 2 nights ago and found it really funny. Cool. I can't wait. I can't wait to see Beau is Afraid. Oh my God, Conrob, you're ridiculous. Midsummer, I do like a lot more than Hereditary. Midsummer, I actually really like as like what it did as a horror movie. It was something that you didn't expect, right? And done really powerfully. Just a great kind of folk horror, right? Too good. Nice. Is that right? You know, Hereditary might have a bit more to it, than I give it credit for. I watched it one time, and I kind of looked at it as pretty shallow. Um, it had, of course, knew its whole story, from the start, and slowly, kind of reveals it, but it doesn't really reveal anything, right? There is this group there, that you don't even know that there is this, kind of group. You get a sense of it, but you don't really have any context for what they really might be. Just what, devil worshippers? Weird, just that's it. Oh my God, Midsummer was actually really cool though. I love he's really interested in subconscious. Ari Aster is, and Beau is Afraid looks like no difference. Really bringing the subconscious onto the screen. That's what he does. What he do. So I did start. Wow. Clayton, stop, bro. He's getting me hyped. I'm sure it's streaming somewhere by now, right? I should be able to watch it. I think we're going to play some cards after the live here. We got into playing some poker on the vacation. Hanging out with the brothers. And my girls have started getting interested in it, and I can teach them how to play poker. I'm a pretty good poker player, that's for sure. So let's back up a bit. Right before I left for vacation, a buddy, Jones, C.G. Jones, he's the author. I had read a book by him. Now I'm blanking. I'm blanking tonight. But it has been tough getting back on the sleep schedule and things like that after vacation. I'm a bit tired, to tell you the truth. But a horror book, I'll put it in the description box. And he had hit me. His name is on Instagram is The Last Sisyphus. And he's a writer. His book is part 1 of a trilogy or something, of a series though. So yeah, Ibanez, Hey Hammer didn't win a lot of chips at all. He did win some hands. I mean, everybody's gonna win some hands, bro. But he hit me up. The Last Sisyphus hit me up, and it's talking about Taoism. He goes, "Hey, I've been reading some on Taoism. It's interesting. I wanted to get your take on Taoism. Just knowing that I'm into that kind of thing, and we'll talk religions to him, right? It's comparative religion study. That kind of thing is my jam. I've read the I Ching. I've read, you know, books on the I Ching, some very interesting ones. I can't believe that I like didn't grab. There it is on the top of the stack. One of the most, see, this is how much this is my jam. This was just sitting over on a top stack on my bookshelf. This is called A Tale of the I Ching, How the Book of Changes Began. Okay, by Wu Wei. This is an amazing book. It might blow your mind. You know, it might. I don't even want to say it, but it is quantum entanglement. It is the decision having an effect in the reality, right? That there is there is choices, there is movements, and there's choices in those movements, right? And so then it is very fundamental, just that there is this kind of variance and changing from one thing to the other. See, that's why it's called the Book of Changes. The hexagrams and things are how energy flows through a system, you know, through a whole system. And because it's only interested in the energy itself and how the energy goes and flows. And of course, there's a lot of variation to that and how it happens, but it's not infinite, right? It's not all just wide open and it goes on forever. Like Jung looking at the archetypal forms, you know, there is a finite number. There's a finite number of subconscious archetypes. There's a finite number of choices and things that we can, ways that our energy goes through all levels of all degree, like, what is the word? Like on a spectrum, you know, there might be big macro kind of ways that energy is produced and used by maybe a star system, something like that. But then how the energy is used just on the earth in these cycles, energy cycles, food cycles, heat, water cycles, all these different kinds of things. There's variance of the energy flows and what it does, how it might go from one state to another, whatever, right? There's these kind of things. And it turns out they're not infinite, right? So that's the hexagrams. That's where the hexagrams come from. So, we got to talking. It was an awesome conversation. I mean, I can talk about this kind of stuff forever, right? And of course, I'm talking about Buddhism because that's where my resonance really sits, right? The Buddhist approach to life and being, that's what I resonate with. So I, of course, was talking about Buddhism, and we decided to buddy read The Diamond That Cuts Through Illusion by Thich Nhat Hanh. Okay, and you might do not roll your eyes because it's Thich Nhat Hanh, okay? I know he's a popular writer, and I don't care at all for his books that are just his talking. I haven't read any of them, okay? But I got this a very, long time ago. I mean, I've been a fan of this work for 2 decades. And I got this because it was a commentary on the Diamond Sutra. The Diamond Sutra is actually called the Vajracchedika Prajnaparamita. So Prajnaparamita is the perfection of wisdom. It is a perfection of wisdom sutra, which is a classification of sutras in Buddhism because there's so many different sutras, and they are, for the most part, concerned with various different aspects of being. Very few sutras are going to be able to give, everybody everything, right? Maybe none. Maybe the Avantamsaka. Am I right, Jack? But the Diamond Sutra may be the most, maybe the strongest and the most penetrating. And it's short. You see how long this is? I suggest reading it just with the commentary. Go for it. Read it with the commentary and have your mind blown. I do have a video on my channel on this, so I'm not going to talk about it more here. It's a mind blow of a work. I'm really actually proud of that video that I did for it, because it took a lot of effort to talk about such a rarefied and just powerful, crazy spiritual perspective. It really makes you feel like, you're just starting out in understanding anything, right? I said in the video that it's a sledgehammer of a book, and it really is. But, you need the commentary, because we don't have context for what people say 2,500 years ago and in a different culture. So if they say something very plainly with these words, you got to really go into it like poetry to analyze the words and like what they're saying to really get the meaning. And that's not required with the commentary. We couldn't do it well anyways, right? Because we don't, unless we were a scholar and really knew the culture more and all this kind of stuff, right? Which one is the book where Thich Nhat Hanh takes his top off? I don't know, PG. I don't know, PG, but I would read that one. I would go for it. I'll tell you, I was just in the mood and talking about that a lot. And then so I will show the one that I picked up from Sundog Books. Thank you for the suggestion on Instagram to go buy Sundog Books. They had an amazing amount of books. And I found something very, very special. This is The Precious Treasury of the Fundamental Nature by Longchen Chenpa. I've never seen this before. This is a Tibetan Buddhist monk, 1200s, I want to say. Longchen Pa, 1300s, sorry. Tibet's renowned master of the great perfection, or Dzogchen tradition. So Dzogchen is a tradition that is basically seeing with naked awareness, is what it's called. Pure awareness. Seeing reality with pure awareness. And my deepest experience with this kind of thing is the Lankavatara Sutra. The Lankavatara Sutra, I have a whole video on that, and you can check that out if you're interested. It is very mind-blowing. I actually made the thumbnail of that one somebody's head on explosion. It was just ridiculous to go through that book. But that's a Buddhist sutra, and a Tibetan Buddhist monk is going to read all the sutras, and all this kind of thing. So this is his teachings as an enlightened master, as a master of that school, Dzogchen, and which is the major school in Tibet. I mean, it just is Buddhism, right? We have all these different labels for it and stuff like this, but really all of them are Buddhism. They all come from the sutras. All the sutras, they don't, argue with each other. He was a prolific scholar, poet, and accomplished spiritual practitioner. He authored hundreds of seminal texts that make up the core of the Nyingma traditional instructions. So a very influential monk. Buddhism is very systematized in Tibet. It shows the temperament of the individuals in that culture. That's what it is, right? Tibetan Buddhism, which is where we get the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which is full of systems and different classifications and all that. Super interesting, I would say, but don't take my word for it. Just go read it. My favorite of the Tibetan style writings that I've come in contact with is this one right here. It's called The Jewel Ornament of Liberation. This is amazing. And actually, the same publishing house that did this precious treasury of the fundamental nature, which is Shambhala Press. So it worked out cool. Emily actually got into reading this one on, because, there's just time when everybody's just kind of lounging around. The sun really takes it out of you. And when you got the beach, and we had a pool at the house. So it was always going. Let me check on something again. Just going to make sure trying to make sure there's not any real problems, right? I don't want any problems on the live. Seems like it's going good tonight. I think I really figured it out. Until next time, right? So a modern scholar and a master in the same tradition, Nyingma, is the commentary. The teaching, this is given by Longchenpa, but there's a commentary along with this in this edition by Wangchuck, perhaps. Tenpai Wangchuck. And this is the first and only explanation of Longchenpa's essential text, The Precious Treasure of the Fundamental Nature, apart from the author's own auto-commentary. So there is actually light commentary by Longchenpa, and then Wangchuck's commentary. I couldn't believe that they're stocking this, right? They had 2 copies. Like somebody's into Buddhism out there in Panama City, because why stock 2 copies? I bought 1 copy, and I was joking with Emily. I said, we come back down here in 10 years and go there. I bet that book is still on that shelf. And nobody bought it. But, now that I think about it, they're 2 brand new copies, and they just got published last year. So there's somebody into it and gonna probably buy it, because it is very, very awesome. Emily, like I said, got into reading it, hasn't had too much comment on it yet, and that's all good. I mean, we don't it's not something to comment on necessarily, right? These kind of things, spiritual teachings, are for the individual, right? And now we're going to get to the really crazy stuff. I got one more to show that I got on the trip. And then I'm going to show you guys like maybe the most awesome book that I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how much of it I'll be able to show tonight, but I will talk about it and show it a bit. We went to the thrift store, the same thrift store where I got the first cautionary tale and the second cautionary tale with Southland Tales, right? Don't watch it with a group on vacation. It's just not gonna hit well. It's not gonna be a hit, right? But I gave this book away. And when I gave this book away, I immediately kicked myself. I missed it. I was like, dude, why did I do that? Of course I should have kept it, because it's a wild ride. And it is the 2012 return of Quetzalcoatl. That's right. We have Sting on the back. We have Graham Hancock on the back. And if you can see, this is written by Daniel Pinchbeck. If anybody's familiar with Daniel Pinchbeck, Breaking Open the Head, this is a very well written and kind of sobering, even though, a sobering look at reality. If you're just kind of in this place, a lot of people are where, if I talk about spiritual stuff, they don't even have any kind of, they don't care. They don't even have any context for anything that I talk about, because people are so spiritually alienated, from their self, from their spiritual side, or their spiritual self. They don't even know where that is or something, right? When it's right here. It's part of what's going on now. Things that really get you there will break you out of being stuck in some stuff. Used to be Timothy Leary, Robert Anton Wilson, some of these, the LSD culture. And I love that stuff. If you follow the channel at all, you know that I love Robert Anton Wilson. And this is a modern type of Robert Anton Wilson figure, right? And what does he do? He does what the Cosmic Trigger is about, really going through yourself. And that's the only substance that you really have to work with anything, right? At that point, if you're doing that, that is spiritual practice. You're completely a spiritual being, and that's spiritual practice. Working with our inner self, our personalities, and our minds. And, they might use, peyote, or they might meditate, or both, or a lot of other stuff, right? And I mean, it's just, there's not a restriction on it. It is that you have to withdraw from your senses in an outward focused way, and you have to focus inward. Your attention is what I'm talking about. Your attention, and that's it. Like, to start, right? If you're doing that, your spiritual work. And so, like figures like William Blake, who was a very spiritual being, but also someone who loved Blake and wanted to do what Blake did with his genius and his artistic output. What Blake did, who wanted to do it was James Joyce. And James Joyce, paid homage to Blake very much. And what did he do, though? What did he do that Blake did? It's to filter the entire of your experience through yourself, and that be the ultimate barometer and metric by which value is given, and by which you have any kind of judgment, right? The ultimate thing is taking the outer and marrying the inner and the outer, and that kind of thing. Just, a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about when I say anything like that, right? And so that's why I love, Happy Bloomsday for sure. Got to mention Joyce on Bloomsday. So Robert Anton Wilson, Timothy Leary, these two were very much like that. Aleister Crowley, he did the same thing, right? So there's a lot of different examples, and there's not one way to do what it is that we do, or what it is that spiritual beings do, which is to integrate themselves, to bring back together all the pieces that have been broken off by hurt and pain and misunderstanding and ignorance. And so to see beings doing that, that's kind of like my favorite literature. Daniel Pitchbeck definitely is in that mode. And now to one of the greatest, most awesome books I've ever seen. I have no idea what this is. I can't even find it in databases. I don't know if it ever had a dust jacket. I assume so. Why? Why not have a dust jacket? But this is Cosmic Sense 1. Revisioning and remembering the fragments of love's body. That's the name of it. Okay? I'm going to get to a title page. Cosmic Sense 1, this is the same title that I just read. You see how there's a lot of, even in that title, there's wordplay. The author's name is Ralph E. Vaughan, Vaughn. And I can't find anything else by the guy. Ralph E. Vaughan copyrighted this in 1979. This is published by Libra Publishers in New York. I have no idea where this comes from, what, if any kind of spiritual tradition or something like this. It is just modern for its time, 1979, right? So somebody late 70s. Acknowledgments, there is just a list, a bibliography list of books from James Baldwin to Walt Whitman and Blake but also, Lewis Carroll, Einstein, some scientific stuff, just all kinds of things talked about here. Hermann Hesse, Erich Fromm. So some philosophers, and it just goes right into it. But always light, with a sense of loving yourself, loving himself. He's accepting of himself, right? So there's some Tom Robbins and Wittgenstein, but there's a lot of writing, and there is a lot of wordplay through it. Very Joycean, very even like to the level of Finnegan's Wake, but easier to read. More simple, right? It's not going for stretching that. It is going for bringing a different type of understanding to certain words. But what you find in here is a complete reorganizing of a guy to himself. He's doing what it is that I'm talking about with putting together his fragmented self, right? Pure spiritual practice. And you find all these mandalas. Here's a real big one. There's a few pull-out ones in this book, but there is, sorry about that, there's maybe 40 in the book. They're everywhere. And he has created mandalas, and most of the time using words, right? But what are we doing with a mandala here? What is he doing? He's marrying sides of things, different polarities, different rhythms inside and outside of the body. From the womb to the tomb, this one has a kind of an arrow of time going through, right? Some of them are straight words. Some are crooked. You know what I mean? Some of them are only words. And all, in the 70s, and part of this spiritual journey that this one person goes through in the book. And it is awesome. I mean, it's just unbelievable. If you're down for this kind of thing, it's one of the most special books I've ever come across. It's unlike anything else. And it is a commentary on, the world, because you can't separate yourself from where we're at and we're breathing air, we're eating food, and so the world, the outer is just as much part of this as the inner, right? And you have to marry that and accept it, right? A tall order. But there is all these kind of tools to doing it. These mandalas are one of those kind of tools. So it is a book of mandalas and a book of talking about it. And I love it. Very much love it. So thanks for hanging out with me, y'all. It's about 10. I'm going to cut it. And happy Friday. Thanks for sticking with me through the vacation and coming by and seeing how it is. Hope you like the grab that I made. You see the cautionary tales are hiding. So, all good. Catch you on the next one, BookTube. Bye-bye.